Stephen A. Smith built his empire on being loud, confident, and confrontational. In the process, he has become one of the most polarizing voices in modern media. For over 2 decades, his fans have appreciated his unfiltered truth, but his haters are sick and tired of his big fat mouth. In a time when controversy drives clicks and being loud guarantees attention, Stephen has perfected the game of modern media. But in chasing the spotlight so relentlessly, there are so many people who just can't stand his high yellow behind.
Bestie, you so damn messy. You sound like one of them people, is what you sound like. We supposed to be offering unbiased, celebrity journalism over here. We are professionals.
But before we dive deep into today's video, don't forget to scoop up something to munch on at rrgsnacks.com, our online concession stand that has an assortment of Applewood smoked bacon jerky, freeze-dried goodies, and butter toffee peanuts. Stephen has always been loud, opinionated, and allergic to silence. But in 2014, his mouth finally wrote a check that his ass couldn't cash. During a heated discussion on First Take about the NFL's slap-on-the-wrist punishment of Ray Rice for assaulting his then-fiancée, Stephen decided to enter the chat about domestic violence.
We keep talking about the guys. But what I've tried to employ the female members of my family, some of who you all met and talked to and what have you, is that, again, and this is what I've done this all my life, let's make sure we don't do anything to provoke wrong actions.
Yes, the man who argues with the wind somehow thought that was a point worth making on live television. It was the kind of comment that instantly ripped through the internet like wildfire. Even his ESPN colleague Michelle Beadle couldn't hold back. She hopped on Twitter with surgical precision, saying she'd been forced to watch First Take, and adding, A, I'll never feel clean again. B, I'm not aware that I can provoke my own beating. The tweet sliced through Stephen's logic like a hot knife through ego. She went on to tweet what most of America was thinking. Violence isn't the victim's issue, it's the abuser's. To insinuate otherwise is irresponsible and disgusting. The backlash was instant and brutal. Stephen suddenly found himself on the defensive. He had to apologize for implying women were responsible for their own abuse. On air, he called it the most egregious mistake of his career. His voice cracked, his tone softened, and for once, he wasn't the loudest person in the room.
My words came across that it is somehow a woman's fault. This was not my intent. It is not what I was trying to say. Yet the failure to clearly articulate something different lies squarely on my shoulders. To say what I actually said was foolish is an understatement. To say I was wrong is obvious. To apologize, to say I'm sorry, doesn't do the matter its proper justice, to be quite honest. But I do sincerely apologize.
A day later, ESPN pulled the plug and suspended him for a week. The network's chief executive tried to soften the blow in a memo, saying the decision came after a thoughtful discussion and that he believed Stephen's apology was sincere. Psychologically, this moment revealed something deeper about Stephen. For years, he'd built his persona around being the man with the last word. But that day, his need to win the argument overrode his ability to read the room. And he was projecting the same masculine bravado that society often mistakes for wisdom. And yet, there was something almost tragic about watching him unravel. The public that once applauded his confidence now saw arrogance. The network that thrived on his volatility had to tame the fire it helped create. And for once, Stephen and his big mouth were forced into silence. But knowing Stephen, he probably spent that week yelling at the mirror and arguing with himself just to keep his skills sharp.
Bestie, you're a damn fool. You know he did.
What's harder, getting Stephen to hold his tongue or keeping Shannon Sharp's zipper up in a room full of 20-year-old white girls?
Bestie, what the hell is wrong with you? Girl, what in the entire hell is wrong with you today?
Anyway, Steven has never met a microphone he didn't want to argue with, but this time Twitter ate him up like a Popeye's biscuit. It all started when he decided to weigh in on the Black Lives Matter movement. And by weigh in, we mean he completely missed the point. He tweeted, "Where's all the noise about hashtag Black Lives Matter when black folks are killing black folks?" Well, according to the FBI's expanded homicide data, this isn't a black issue. It's a proximity issue. In 2018, 88% of black victims were killed by black offenders, but 80% of white victims were killed by white offenders. In 2017, the trend was nearly identical. People are most likely to be harmed by the people they live around and by people who look like them. Yet somehow, when white people harm each other, it's just called crime. But when black people do it, it becomes a national talking point about black-on-black violence. The double standard is loud and clear. And that's where Steven missed the mark. Instead of amplifying a moment meant to shed light on systemic racism, he used his platform to echo one of the oldest, most misleading talking points about Black America. People could see right through him. He wanted to be the respectable black man trying to reason with white America by distancing himself from his own people. For some men like Steven, validation from the establishment feels safer than solidarity with their community. After a nail-biting Game 6 of the 2016 NBA Finals, emotions were flying higher than Draymond Green's temper. The Golden State Warriors had just lost, and Ayesha Curry, the ever-vocal wife of Steph Curry, jumped on Twitter to let off some steam. She tweeted that the streets were rigged, and the internet immediately erupted, and her tweet made its way right into Steven's lap. During an episode of First Take, he told Ayesha she stepped out of line and was a reflection of her husband and his team. He said she should have been more mindful and called her comments classless. Translation, he basically told her to stay quiet and let her man handle the loss. Then Steven took it a step further and compared Ayesha to LeBron James' wife, Savannah. He praised Savannah for sitting quietly at games and never bringing attention to herself. Then, for no reason at all, he went on a tangent about how beautiful Savannah was, saying, "Ain't a man alive, especially a black man, who wouldn't say that woman is gorgeous." Now, what her looks had to do with any of this, nobody knows. Ayesha wasn't having it. She fired back on Twitter, asking why he felt the need to pit two women against each other. Steven's comments expose the double standard that still hangs over women. They are expected to be polished, silent, and supportive, never outspoken or emotional. So when Ayesha shared her opinion, Steven immediately defaulted to labeling her with every tired stereotype about unruly black women that society refuses to let go of. At this point, Steven is collecting outrage the way most people collect frequent flyer miles. But in 2017, the clapback came on a letterhead.
Get him, Lamar!
It all started when Steven made a wild comment on First Take while dragging Phil Jackson's decisions as team president of the New York Knicks. In his rant, Steven questioned Phil's choice to sign Lamar at the end of the 2013-2014 season, since Lamar was on crack. Yes, he really said that on live television. From there, Lamar got his lawyer to send a letter to ESPN. In the letter, his lawyer stated that Lamar had passed all his physicals and medical tests before joining the Knicks, so the on crack comment was wrong and reckless. The main issue was the way Steven turned Lamar's battle with addiction into a punchline about the Knicks. Lamar has been open about his struggles with drugs and alcohol, admitting he had battled addiction long before being found unconscious in a Nevada brothel in 2015. But according to the letter, using that pain for entertainment was beyond tasteless. Lamar never actually played a game for the Knicks and retired after that season. But in the court of public opinion, he won this round. Because sometimes you don't need to yell back at Steven. You just let a lawyer with a well-written letter do it for you.
Boom!
During a 2017 episode of First Take, Steven shared his thoughts on Japanese MLB star Shohei Ohtani, who was playing for the Los Angeles Angels at the time. And let's just say his words did not age well. Steven said that Shohei couldn't be the face of baseball because he uses an interpreter. Steven added, "I understand baseball is an international sport, but when your number one face is a dude that needs an interpreter so people can understand what the he's saying in this country, that doesn't help." The internet said, "Boy, what?" and immediately dragged him. Critics from all corners of social media called his comments tone-deaf and offensive. Even former ESPN commentator Keith Olbermann called for Steven's suspension, saying Steven's words were dangerous. Steven tried to clarify, saying he wasn't talking about Shohei personally, but about the marketability and promotion of the sport. But that only made things worse. By Monday night, Steven realized he had to put out the fire he started. He released an apology, saying, "As an African American, keenly aware of the damage stereotyping has done to many in this country, I should have been more sensitive. I screwed up." The next day, he doubled down on the apology live on First Take.
"I don't need press releases. I don't need statements from the company. I don't need all of this other stuff. Let me be the first to stand up and say that I want to express my sincere apologies to the Asian community and the Asian American community."
It was one of those rare moments when Steven actually had to eat his own words. He admitted his comments were insensitive and regrettable, adding that he was truly sorry for any harm he caused. Meanwhile, Shohei, the man at the center of all this chaos, stayed unbothered. He became the first Japanese-born player to compete in the MLB Home Run Derby that same week. He didn't need to respond because his stats did all the talking.
Sayonara, Steven, you big ashy mother sucker.
If you want to learn how to turn a bad moment into a public relations dumpster fire, all you have to do is study Steven. In April 2024, he sat down with Sean Hannity of Fox News and did something nobody asked for. He defended Donald Trump's claim that Black people could relate to being persecuted by the legal system.
He's hearing that Black folks find him relatable because what he's going through is similar to what Black Americans have gone through. He wasn't lying. It is something that Black folks throughout this nation can relate to with some of our historic, iconic figures. We relate to you when you're suffering like that because we know we have.
Steven, shut your big mouth up. Chad, I don't know nobody with 34 felonies. No, I cannot relate. No, I cannot.
Black Twitter called him all kinds of raccoons and Uncle Toms. And how did Steven respond to the outrage? Well, he posted a video on Twitter.
Quite a few folks were put off, if not flat out offended, after my words were interpreted as associating support for Trump from the Black community with all the legal issues he's facing. For that, I sincerely apologize.
As you can expect, it didn't go over well. At the end of the day, Steven's mouth has always been his moneymaker. But this time, it reminded everyone that you can be loud, confident, and completely wrong at the same time. At this point, Steven's mouth deserves its own security detail and a salary separate from ESPN. The man argues like he's running a filibuster, and honestly, maybe that's the plan. He's been getting louder and louder and louder lately, and he's definitely testing the waters for a political run.
Oh, hell no. Steven, please. No. Fix it, Black Jesus.
Steven really thinks conservatives are about to rally behind his black ass. But baby, be for real. They will clap for you on Fox News, but the second you start talking about reparations or racial bias, they will drop you faster than a hot mic.
Candace Owens, we looking at you, girl.
But knowing Steven, he'll take the risk. He loves a good debate more than he loves being right. He keeps pushing the line, and with every take, he loses a few more people who once rooted for him. What used to make him magnetic now makes him hard to stomach. He's become the kind of figure people love to hate, burning bridges in exchange for airtime and mistaking controversy for connection. If you enjoyed this video, let us know down below. And thanks for watching RRG.